Hello everybody, welcome back. Today in front of you is the Cooler Master, what do they call it? Cooler Master CM Stacker. We got this in another video that I'll link to somewhere up here. And basically I found this thing at the thrift shop. It was like 15 bucks or 10 bucks or something like that. And well, it was too good of a deal to pass up. And I mean, I'm a sucker for these old cases, so I picked it up, and I didn't really have a project planned, and I thought to myself maybe that I would put my modern system in there, my Ryzen 5 system, with 3600 Ti. But I mean, it's empty, and we're not doing that. Instead, I got to kind of thinking about it, how this case is kind of like, it's a little bit extra. It's got all of these expansion bays, probably double the amount anybody would ever need. It's got a place for 2 power supplies and the ability to hook them together. So 2 power supplies. It's got the ability to support 2 different types of motherboard standards, ATX and BTX. So it's kind of like the double machine. And that's why I decided I'm going to make a retro machine out of it. But we're gonna go all out and we're gonna do double on it on pretty much everything. So that means double the processors, double the CD-ROMs, double the power supplies. Don't you fall. And probably my favorite part, double the GPUs. It's gonna be a good one. Alright, before we get started on this, let's take a quick gander at the old motherboard here. Now, this is an Intel G7 ESZ. I believe there's another name for this. It's not on the board anywhere, but it's like an Intel STL2 board. I don't really know what that means. Not really pertinent to what I'm doing here. Anyways, I bought this motherboard on eBay, and the reason I bought this is because it comes with both processors, cooling fans, and it comes with the VRMs for the second CPU. A lot of like, you can run this board with just one CPU and, you know, minus the VRMs here, and if you put another CPU in there, it just simply wouldn't work. You need this add-on card, and sometimes they can't be found together. And really what the reason I decided to do this dual motherboard or dual CPU project here is on Facebook I saw an ad for a motherboard, and it had the one CPU in it, and I think it had a stick of RAM, but it didn't have the VRMs. So it was a complete system. It was an HP something or other, like Workstation 4000, and the guy wanted 20 bucks for it. And him and I talked back and forth. I kept asking him, when can I come get it? And he's would say, oh, not today, but how about tomorrow? And our schedules just wouldn't allow it. And then one day it was sold, and it really got kind of salty about it. So I jumped on eBay, and I found this, and I bought it, and it was like $100 shipped to my door. But you know, I got it, and now the project can commence. And sometimes you don't see the forest through the trees, and you buy something that's 5 times more expensive. And on top of that, so with that, the HP, what did I say it was? Workstation 4000. Like I said, it was missing a second CPU cooler, and the VRM card. And I started ordering the parts I would need to do a second CPU. And this is just the cooling fan, but unfortunately, I'm not going to need it. And it ended up being like 40 bucks, which kind of sucks. Kind of a unique part. Anyways, let's get to checking this out some more. So it doesn't have onboard audio. Here we got the Ethernet, RVGA, PS2 ports, COM ports, printer port, and USB. But there's no onboard sound, so we're going to add a sound card to that. For that, we're going to run... I have this old Sound Blaster. It's an SB0460. Can we see that? SB0460. Nothing super exciting about this card, but it is Sound Blaster compatible, which is a good idea, I think, for a retro machine. And there's going to be better ones, but this one I had on hand, so we're going to go with that. For onboard video, this has the ATI, let's flip you over, there we go, ATI Rage 2 PCI, which will be nice. It'll be a nice 2D card. because our 3DFX Voodoo 2s are what we're going to be using in this. So like I was saying, these are a little bit special. These are the 12 megabyte versions, and I had to order these from overseas, so hopefully they work. I have not plugged them in yet. But like I said, hopefully they work, because I want this thing to run all the Glide games at FPS that young me would have wouldn't have believed. So let's. Oh, and one more thing. It has RAM in it. Yeah, 512 megabytes of PC-133. Yeah, that was harder to see. And I believe this board can support up to 16 gigs. I don't think we're going to go that far, but I would like to get another one of these up to a gig, maybe up to 2 gigs. Maybe I can find 3 more of those matching sticks. So I haven't even booted this up before, so we're going to get this together and start it up, and hopefully it works. Hopefully that's going to be all I need to do is put it together. We'll see. In the auction, they said it just comes with the CPUs and coolers. He didn't know what CPUs were actually in here, so it's Pentium 3, that I know, but what kind of Pentium 3? No idea. Okay, so let's clean this thing out. It's got a lot of goodies in here that I'm sure are going to come in handy for putting together. Got our power supply link, quite a bit of hardware. Feet, I might replace the rolly wheels on this with feet. Keep it from moving around, maybe. Power supply brackets and hardware. Empty bag. These don't even go to, these rails don't even go to it. Let me store those away somewhere safe. Brackets. I might have to print up some brackets to hold the, let me say that again without all this jingling. I might have to print up some brackets to hold the hard drives into here, because I think this is wider than a hard, I'm 100% certain it's wider than a hard drive. I have one set here, so hopefully this is all I'll need. We will see. I should probably put 2 hard drives in here just because, you know, it's like the double everything computer. And then a couple of these guys out of here. Oh yeah, and this guy, we'll put him in there somewhere. Is that how far down the cap goes? Yeah. Alright, yeah, he'll stay. Some other hardware in there. Oh, there's some hardware. We'll put our I/O plate in there first. Wow, that one's a tight fit. Oh, there we go. There we go. And then put that in there. Come on. There you go. So let's see. We gotta get, yeah, we gotta move a few of these. Those ones are lined up. Those 3 are lined up. Probably one here that has no hole, so we'll move that. I need 3 of them at the bottom. So let's test that again. Looks like all of them line up, which is a bonus. Now you'll notice that I let the screwdriver slip from my hands when I'm tightening these down. And the reason being is this guy here has a lot of torque, and I don't want to strip any of these guys out or break a head off. So there we go, installed. Looks good in there. Let's stand it up. So I'm going to put a power supply at the bottom, and I'm also going to put a power supply, and you can't see it, but I'm going to put a power supply at the top. One I'm going to have run, you know, my hard drives, CD-ROM, and all that kind of stuff. And then the other one is going to be, you know, for the motherboard, CPU, GPUs, stuff like that. Do I need to do it like that? Nah, not really, but I can, so we will. So my auxiliary power supply is going to be this get in the shot. It's going to be this EVGA 400 watt. It's not 80. Neither of the power supplies going to this are going to be 80 rated. You know, white or gold or anything like that. Just a run-of-the-mill power supply. Also, I am going to have it point, you know, suck air in from the case and then expel it out the back, simply because this case doesn't have any room in the front or provisions in the front to add fans, so the intake into this is going to be very low. So the sheer amount of stuff blowing out of the case is going to help cool it. So we'll have a power supply down here, sucking air from in the case and blowing it out. We'll have a fan up here, the main exhaust here blowing out. Then we'll have power supply up here, sucking up air, blowing out. And then I got this little 80mm fan in here, exhausting out the top. So hopefully that will keep all of this relatively cool. I don't think the Pentium 3s were known for being huge heat producers, so hopefully we'll be good. Oh, and I gotta knock that out of there. Unscrew it rather. Oh, that was loud. Holy monkey. Oh, that's cool. It's not lining up exactly. Maybe it's just the angle I'm looking at. Maybe that'll work. I mean, it's not exactly lined up. We'll see what happens. Worst comes to worst, you just kind of like force it to do your bidding. There we go. So the main power supply is completely filled with dust. Be right back. I've never cleaned this out. Look at that monster. Man, I did you guys a disservice. I should have recorded that, because when all those dust bunnies came out of there, they started rolling down the driveway with the wind picking them up. It was kind of funny to watch. But I didn't, and I'm sorry. So let's put this in there. Oh, this will have to go in first. Here. Oh. There is a chance that wasn't recording, isn't there? Yeah, there is a good chance that didn't get recorded, but nothing thrilling happened. I just noticed the EVGA power supply does not have a switch. I've never owned a computer with two power supplies. We are gonna have to use some zip ties to hold stuff in place. What is oh hey, there's an actual lead for the power supply fan, or at least I think this is gonna be the fan, or maybe this is just RPM monitoring. I don't know. Well, we'll turn it on and find out. We don't need to hook up auxiliary power. This has got a weird 10-pin setup, and it also has the old style power supply set up for auxiliary power as well, and neither of them have to be used. It would be nice if I could get something for this. I might see if something's available online. An adapter of sorts. I need to look up the front panel, which I think is actually up here, the front panel schematic for this, and we can hook up power buttons. Got the front panel hooked up. There's no indicator on here on which side should be positive and negative. I guess we'll find out. I'm guessing positive is the one to the closest to the 1. It's not always the way it is. Switches, of course, don't matter. So basically, if my power LED doesn't work, I'll flip those around and probably flip around the hard drive because white is probably power. Who knows? Actually, white's probably ground. Okay, monitor's hooked up, mouse and keyboard are hooked up, power's hooked up. All we need to do, it might come to life once I switch this power supply on, depending on the settings. Did not come to life, which is kind of good. Let's press the power button, and it did not turn on. 1 second. I pressed the power button again and it turned on. Okay. Let's see what happens. Do we get picture? We get picture. Main screen turn on. Do I get to go to BIOS? What do I get to do here? Control S to enter. Control S. Might have been too slow. SCSI select. There's no SCSI. We have no drives, and I just want to get into Control Alt Delete, and we're going to spam delete. It says quite the slow boot. Maybe the manual says how to get. Well, that didn't work. Maybe the manual says how to get into BIOS. That is not the mouse. Oh, if I would have just waited. There we go. Well, the battery's probably dead. No big deal on that. None processors. Ooh, 1 gigahertz. Heck yeah. Does that mean it's not registering the second one? Yeah, processor status 2 error. That's no bueno. Take it apart, reseat things. Maybe make sure that DIMM group 1 status error. How can I have an error on the status of DIMM group 1? There's only one. System date 1988. I think this thing's a little newer than 1988. Oh, I should change. I wonder if there's an option in there to change that boot. This screen. I'm gonna monkey around with it a little bit. Okay, so you're moving. We got a few things. Check date and time. DIMM group with errors enabled. Error. Cisgate drive A error. Processor 2 with error. 2 with error taken offline. Okay, let's take it apart, clean it up, see what happens. So before I take anything apart, first thing I'm going to do is replace that CMOS battery, because a dead CMOS battery can do weird things. And it should just be pretty normal, 2032, yes it is. Toshiba. And I have a handful of these. Well, I have 2, not really a handful. There we go. 2 power presses, I guess that's what it takes. Also, I disabled that splash screen, so now we'll get a little bit of diagnostic information, but it's up and gone in like the blink of an eye. No, it won't, because it didn't save the BIOS. Anyways, we'll do it again. Let's do this. It's 5:50. Well, that might be 17. 50. Today is August. Whoa. What's the 12th? Oh my gosh. Go. Time. I'm still flying. And whatever that system. But yes, I go. And we'll boot time by next one. Exit. So there we go. Last time it counted through, and then we get an error. Hopefully we don't. Maybe a new CMOS battery fixed it. Nope. Got an error. So I'll let this go through, get that sort of summary screen for errors, and we will reseat some CPUs and stuff. So no more of the CMOS stuff, which is good. According to the manual here, this one here, letter E, is the secondary processor, so we're going to take that one apart and make sure that it's working. Actually, maybe the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to take out this card and make sure that it's not like damaged or anything like that, or that it's seated correctly. VRM, that's the word I'm looking for. How do you take this out? Just, I'll be like, oh, there's something, all right. Go there. Go. All right. So here's the VRMs. All of our capacitors seem like they're good. Looks to be in good shape. Nothing's burnt. Nothing looks weird. At least I don't think it does. Let's just make sure we have a good positive connection in there. And then these are what I was fighting with. These little, can you see them in there? They're difficult to press. Didn't work. So let's take it out. I think I figured it out. It only took a second or two of looking at it. We're gonna flip this up, flip it off, take it off. There we go. Dirty. And this comes all the way up. And this. I have never taken off apart a Pentium 3 system like this on a circuit board. You think it'd be more intuitive? I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna look it up. All right, I got it off of there. I just needed to be a little bit more assertive, I guess. I didn't want to break anything, so it just clamps on with those things. But it's like once you flip this up, these really don't hold on by a whole lot. Can we get some light on there? Yeah, so it came apart pretty easily. Basically, it was just like just a little bit of pressure forward and it popped off. So this is just dust. So we'll clean this up. Take the CPU out. But I wonder if this is getting hot or if it's burnt up. We're going to do the same thing to the other one. We're going to clean them up. And then, of course, there also could be like a jumper around here or something. Who knows? Pentium 1000, 133 megahertz. You know, bus speed. So it is now nice and clean, reseated nice. A little shmoo on there. Come on. Sometimes this gets clogged up. Oh, there we go. Come on, stay on there. There you go. You know what? Smear it around a little bit. So I imagine this just pushes straight down onto it. There we go. Squish it down. It doesn't have a real positive engagement. Give it a little pressure down. Squeeze that stuff around. I am so glad that CPU cooler technology has come so far. Maybe, because now it booted again. I'll let you know in a minute if this is working. Yes, it is. 2X Intel Pentium. Nice. So it must have just been seated bad. I'm still going to take that one out and reseat it. But let's see if we get an error on the RAM now. Still get an error on the RAM. Okay. Okay, so I didn't get to see it last time, but pried this open, and then it was just a little bit of being a... Okay, this time it's not doing it. There we go. Let's give it a little a little push, and it comes apart. This one's equally as bad. Totally dry. So I got that one all cleaned up now, new paste and everything. Let's make sure we're still at the same place we were a few minutes ago. That's right. We're gonna give it a minute. It needs to sort of like think about what it's about to do. I switched it on, right? Yep. 2x Intel Pentium 3s. All right, we can just, well, let's see if the RAM has magically fixed itself. 511. Error. Okay. Let's take that RAM out. Everything looks good. Nothing's like physically broken on it. Not that I can see. Let's see if a reseat. Let's see if reseating it fixes that. Because it fixed the CPU. Jump to this screen. Dim group with error is enabled in error. F2. So processors. There we go. Normal status 1 gigahertz. 6BA or 68A. Memory configuration. There we go. There's our error. Might have to replace that RAM. I don't know if I have any laying around. Okay, so I don't have any more RAM laying. Well, that's not true. I do have RAM laying around, but the manual says that it has to be 133 megahertz error, ECC registered, and I don't have anything like that laying around. Basically, it has to be server RAM because it's a server board. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm gonna have to jump on eBay, order up some up. I'm gonna have to order some up, and we can continue the project later. Another thing I noticed is I only have one IDE 40-pin connector and one floppy drive connector, and I don't want to run my hard drive and my CD-ROM on the same channel because it's going to slow it down. So what I might do is get a hold of some SCSI drives. I can have 2 SCSI drives, and then I can have an IDE drive, and then of course the floppy drive, and I'll see if I can get a hold of a floppy. I don't know if I really need that. Maybe there's something cool we can put up in here to sort of negate a floppy, but still have some sort of like use for it. Anyways, I think it's coming out good. We got the project started. It's all, well, a majority of it's in the case, which is nice. And we fixed the issue with the CPU number 2 not being detected or being detected by having an error. So that's always nice. And we found out that we have RAM errors. So I'll get some RAM ordered up tonight. We'll pick this project up again. And soon we'll have pretty much kind of like the ultimate retro overindulgence machine. 2 Voodoo 2 in SLI, 2 CPUs, 2 power supplies. It's going to be fun. All right. So I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, please hit that thumbs up and maybe hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And I'll get more stuff like this in the future. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.